industry with more information and knowledge, be better equipped and empowered.
And experience it totally differently than we all have when we started, right?
Exactly. I feel like I came in blind.
Yeah.
I think with that, knowing A, what to expect, and B, what's not acceptable.
Yes, 100%.
I think that's the thing, because, I was a very young, ambitious apprentice, and to be honest with you, I saw, my chef throw hot gnocchi at one of the servers for running food to the wrong table, and people get yelled at for things that now in my day-to-day I can't imagine yelling at someone for.
That's an honest mistake.
But yeah, and you know what, to be honest, it's funny to think about that now, because you're in such a different headspace.
Yeah.
And you're like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's really what we're trying to do, is we're trying to say, look, this is the way it has been.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the brigade system comes from a military system.
Yep.
We need to change that, because that military way of thinking is not healthy for us on the everyday life to actually, block everything else except for activity, Yeah. And what I mean by that is, they want nothing, no noise or no thought at all. Just do your job and
exactly.
That's it. Yeah. That doesn't work.
Again, like we said it earlier, it didn't actually record, but we said it earlier, like there's no longevity to the way, and this is a broad stroking statement, but there's no longevity to the way we're currently acting within our space and the way we're managing our people and creating our environments. And I feel like people like what you guys are doing is allowing for us to create longevity to this, to allow for this to be an honest career for people, to like, you know what, I love working in the space, I love people, and I love food. And now I feel comfortable being me in this space. I feel heard and I feel valued, whether in front of house or back of house, whatever it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And celebrating whatever role you're doing, whether you're dishwashing or a hostess or whatever it is, like understanding you are an integral part to this industry and to that business. One thing I didn't ask you both earlier, and I'd love to get your takes on this, again, on more of a personal note, but what have you guys done either currently? You mentioned CrossFit obviously helps you, but what is your recharge formula? So for me, I know what works for me. Like after today, I know I can put my earphones in, listen to a certain type of music and just relax. That's how I kind of recharge. What have you guys done that maybe our listeners could try that helps them, whether it's after a double shift or a triple shift, or like they had their head down for 7 hours, they didn't look up through a service? What has worked for you either currently or in the past to recharge yourselves from being in this space?
No, that's a great question. I do CrossFit, but I will say I believe in everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yes.
But part of that is CrossFit's really hard.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of go energy.
It's intense.
So I always like to balance that with soft energy too. So I also do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of meditation.
Amazing.
And meditation helps me come down from anything. every day.
Yeah.
It's a daily practice for me now. It's been a huge lifesaver. I also try to really focus on my diet and be really careful. There's a lot of understanding now, the connection between gut health and brain health.
God. Yeah.
And we didn't know that many years ago. So for someone that suffers with their mental health a lot, it's been a game changer for me, understanding that what I eat is affecting my mood.
Yeah.
And it's not an accident that, I feel this way today because of what I ate yesterday.
I heard there's more neuroreceptors in the human stomach than in a cat's brain.
Exactly.
Or something like that. Like crazy. So
we get as humans 90% of our serotonin from our gut.
Yeah.
So as someone who lives with depression, that's super important information for me to know.
We literally are what we eat.
Exactly. We literally are. So those three things are huge for me.
I think for me, I would start by saying two things. Everyone, again, has different activities, and I think sometimes it takes a little while to find what they are. But I actually as I was saying, I had an ulcer. After the ulcer, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. It was a really severe ulcer. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I lost a ton of blood, and I had to completely change my diet afterwards, and then started working out afterwards and being very active. And it was something that I had neglected in my career because I just put myself after. Like I would be like, oh no, I just gotta go to work. I gotta go to work at 11 or like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It doesn't matter. I gotta go to work because X, Y, and Z. And I was, always had a justification. But I feel like the actual diet change has been a huge one, and the exercise has been a huge one. But everyone is so different with it, and I think one of the big things to remember as well is that sometimes you don't even know that you need things. You don't even know that you're in it sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that sense of awareness is lacking because you are so focused on that one thing about getting to the restaurant and starting 100%. Your shift, and you got to prep this and you got to prep that.
I think one of the third biggest things that we found, we had different types of mental health, the primary concerns, and the third largest category was work addiction. Which was, for me, what I suffered from without even realizing it, just based on the way that I had been trained. And again, it's like you're trained to think that if you're not actively working right now, then you're wasting time and you're being lazy.
Yeah, and time to lean, time to clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or time to lean, just time to lean.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Well, and that's the importance of that. And I don't think until we started not 9 to 5, I don't think I actually even did that. I don't think I recognized how important it is. And now I've been really trying my hardest not to feel guilty about not always working and resting. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I still work too much, but that's by choice. Yeah. And I acknowledge that it's not something I want to do for much longer.
You're aware of it now.
Exactly.
Which is
well, we also talk about stuff. I would say we call each other out on stuff, and it's nice to have that person that's like, remember that conversation about
not working all the time.
Right. I'm just observing some crazy hours you're clocking there.
Yeah, that accountability piece is so important, and like I said, having platforms like what you guys have created is so important to give us the dialogue and be able to have the conversations that, again, haven't been had. And I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. I really do take my hat off to you guys. I feel so lucky that I've been able to meet you guys. It's kind of like meeting celebrities a bit, if I'm honest. Followed these guys on social media, and then I saw their colleague Eric with his lanyard on earlier, and I was like, I got to talk to these guys. And Eric was kind enough to pull you guys and bring you over here twice.
Well, Brad, honestly, the pleasure's all ours. We also followed you on Instagram,
I
told you were one of the people I was so happy to meet today.
Yeah, no.
To be honest, I know I have to curate my feed and be careful with my time on social media because it is a little bit of a trigger.
Yeah.
But we do actually have some amazing resources on our Instagram and Facebook. We have, been able to share them, and we've heard from so many people that they've really helped.
So keep engaging, guys, and they are
on Instagram at not9to5_.
Exactly, and we can look at that PDF coming out. When?
Yeah, that's. I'm glad that you brought that up again. So this week is actually Mental Health Week. So we are releasing a part 1 of a PDF, which is going to be a better practice guide of how to talk about mental health with your staff and how to approach the subject. And it's really meant to be an ongoing conversation. It's not going to be the certification like now you're an expert,
right?
But it really is like, if you don't know where to start, it's a good place to start. And like Hassel said, I think the really important aspect is look at our website, get some of the resources down, and share them with your staff, share them with your friends. The thing is even if you don't use it right now, it's important to have that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. And thank you guys again for doing what you do. Thank you for coming on twice today and making up for the little snafu we had. If you want to share one last message with our listeners, with our viewers, whether it be personal, whether it be from Not 9 to 5, we are lucky enough to be speaking with roughly 10,000 people all over the world.
Wow, that's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Kenya, Germany, Italy, everywhere. So.
Well, I guess that kind of touches on our name, Not 9 to 5. The reason why we named it that is obviously like our hours.
Right.
But there's nothing about mental health and addiction that runs on 9 to 5 hours. It's a human issue at the end of the day. Our industry gets hit pretty hard with it, but it affects everybody, and everyone has mental health, like we said. But the last thing I would say, is just that it's just important to keep talking.
Right.
And suffering in silence is really dangerous. Isolation is really dangerous. Even if you need to reach out to family, friend, whoever, just you're not alone. DM us, I've talked to many people on the ledge, so I'm not ashamed. I wouldn't be ashamed to tell you I had a broken leg, and I'm not ashamed to tell you I live with depression.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being so vulnerable.
Thank you. I think for me, I would also just like to add one last note, is just be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, we're two people. We're not professional,
You're not psychologists.
We're not
You're
psychologists.
Yeah.
And, not mental health professionals at all, but both of us are very passionate, and, it wouldn't happen unless you just do it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, be the change you want to see, and just let's try to make tomorrow better than today.
Yeah. Never underestimate what a small community can do, guys. Thank you both so much for coming on.
Thank
Again,
you.
like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. We have a few more interviews to come up the rest of the day, so stay tuned for that. Again, go follow these guys if you don't currently engage with them online. If you are out there right now and you feel as though you are suffering from any sort of anxiety, mental illness, any of those things, please do reach out. You know what? If you want to DM me as well, and I'd be happy to introduce you, whatever that situation may be, but do not suffer in silence. As big as this country is, we have a very small community, and we are here to help with each other, and a rising tide raises all ships, right? Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys again. Check them out online. That's it. We're done. Twice. We did it.